floor is now open for nominations for president. Would anyone like to nominate someone?
I nominate Joe Smith for president.
I second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Joe Smith for president. Are there any other nominations for president? Then all those who are in favor of Joe Smith for president, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
All right, Joe Smith is our new president. This meeting is now adjourned. Congratulations, Joe, and good luck.
Congratulations on being elected. Now comes the true test of your commitment. It will be a lot of fun, as well as a lot of work. Like Joe, your position on the governing board of a nonprofit organization should be taken seriously. You'll be expected to make many routine and sometimes difficult decisions. It's a position of honor as well as responsibility and an opportunity to do good work for your community. In your new position within your organization, it is likely that you'll take the lead in several fundraising activities. Have you decided to use gambling games as a way to make money? Activities like bingo, raffles, and pull tabs are fun, but they take planning, knowledge, and observation to ensure that they will be conducted ethically and legally. Did you know that chief executives and directors can be held personally liable for the actions and decisions they make as part of their official duties? Surprised? You're not alone. Many individuals who find themselves in your position have no idea that they're the one that would become legally accountable. Can you imagine how embarrassing it would be to you, personally, as well as to your organization, if the local newspaper ran headlines dealing with fraud, embezzlement, or misuse of funds within your organization? This video, along with this handbook, should help you understand your duties and responsibilities, things society expects of an officer. The video can only give you a brief overview of those duties. The handbook goes into more detail. It describes management control systems, internal control systems, proper use of funds, and other specific requirements and rules for your organization. Sometimes members of nonprofit organizations mistakenly assume that their gambling activities are a separate function. This can lead to trouble. Groups have found out too late that their organizational funds have been embezzled, siphoned away, misused, or that substantial financial liabilities have been incurred. The Gambling Commission believes that most violations of our state's gambling rules arise from a lack of education and understanding rather than intentional actions by our licensees. That's why the Commission promotes voluntary compliance from nonprofit organizations like yours. Remember, Joe, now that you're the president, you'll be the one held responsible for your actions, or inactions, during your term of office. Are you ready for this kind of community exposure if something goes wrong? I know you don't want that to happen, so maybe it's time to listen to some expert advice from the Gambling Commission about your duties and responsibilities.
It's good for you to know that as an officer or trustee, you are legally bound to take the appropriate steps that will ensure you and your group are acting in the best interest of the organization. We are going to cover 3 duties of the utmost importance to officers of charitable nonprofit groups, duties not always understood or taken seriously. We have classified the primary responsibilities you have into 3 duties, that of obedience, care, and loyalty. As we talk about these duties, keep in mind your organization's mission statement. For instance, why does your group exist, and what are its goals and purposes? You may want to review your organization's charter, bylaws, articles of incorporation, and any other legal documents. Are you completely familiar with how your organization works and all of its legal documents? Together, these documents support your organization's tax-exempt status, as well as its eligibility for a gambling license.
Joe, when was the last time you reviewed your organization's charter, bylaws, articles of incorporation, and other legal documents? Do you even know where to find them if you wanted to take a look at them? Let's start with the duty of obedience, which requires a president or director to carry out the organization's purpose as set forth in its articles of incorporation, and to conduct all activities in a lawful manner. A breach or failure to observe this duty may arise from a failure to monitor legal changes and requirements, a failure to monitor activities of employees and agents, failure to monitor use of organizations' funds, and an unauthorized change or expansion of activities.
To fulfill your legal responsibilities as director and perform your duty of obedience, do these simple activities. Regularly review your organization's articles of incorporation, bylaws, and applicable state laws. Develop a relationship with accessible professional advisors that can help you monitor changes in law and ensure your organization is in compliance.
Now's your chance, Joe, to learn the laws and how they'll affect your group. Reading the Gambling Commission's newsletters and rules manual is a great way to stay up to date with changes. If you have questions, call the Gambling Commission or your local field agent. You may also want to attend monthly commission meetings.
Your second duty is the duty of care. As an officer, you have a duty to act in good faith as any reasonable person would, and in a manner that will best further the organization's interests. It's your duty to carefully manage the financial affairs of the organization. Make sure that books and records are complete and accurate. Even if this responsibility is delegated to someone else, it's your job to take a look at the records from time to time.
Joe, somewhere in that box are some checks that were written when some of your board members attended an out-of-state conference. Do you think you can find them? Well, hopefully they turned in their receipts and kept records. Otherwise, it might be difficult to determine who went on the trip and where they spent the money. You see, if you don't require careful documentation, you could find out later that the money was spent on things that the board didn't approve. Some of the ways the money was spent could also prove to be embarrassing or fraudulent. Remember those headlines?
Officers exhibit care by being responsible, acting in good faith, and staying attentive to the operations of the organization. They must also be alert to potential problems that could arise.
Boy, wouldn't that be embarrassing? To find out that one of the employees was altering records and stealing right under your nose. How would you ever be able to know what was happening with your records in such a mess? Maybe a good place to start is to straighten up that box you inherited. See if there are any written guidelines in there about management controls. If not, there will be many good ideas in the handbook you can use. Joe, maybe you should find out if someone on the board has a financial background and could help you get these papers organized. Remember, if you delegate this responsibility, be sure to see that the work is being done properly. In fact, you might want to set up a committee for this chore.
A breach of care could arise from neglect. Neglect of your organization's legal and financial affairs, and careless, frivolous decisions based on lack of information. There are many strategies available to help you carry out your duty of care. These involve taking your position seriously and avoiding hasty or impulsive actions and rash decisions. Stay informed. Become familiar with organizational matters. Review materials and ask questions. It's important that you carefully select and monitor the people to whom you have delegated responsibilities. Manage the institutional funds wisely and responsibly. Understand the relevant statutory provisions regarding nonprofit corporations and be sure your organization is in compliance. Always keep accurate and complete financial books, records, and necessary reports. It's important to know the state and federal reporting requirements and deadlines. In order to maintain your organization's tax-exempt status, we suggest you seek advice for matters beyond your individual expertise.